Ooh, 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 ooh. Let's just let this load up for a second. Get a couple of the shots of the logo that everybody's going to be representing now. Yeah. And we'll publish that. Let it go. Let it go. So that one is up. We're now going to go here. Let this update here for a couple of seconds while I get everything rolling. Because sadly, I don't have the technology just yet to get everything like shared across all the platforms like right off the bat. I don't. But beautiful thing about it is I don't give a fuck. And nobody needs to give a fuck. Let's put this up here for a second. Yeah. Yes. Why is this being so stupid? I don't understand why this is being dumb. Stop being dumb, please. Thank you. How about we just go... Anyway. This is going to be the first minute. It's just going to be like, ugh, I hate that. There we go. What? Why are you being so dumb? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it, shall we? Welcome to North Sports, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Andrew Faber, and today is a big day in Buccaneers Nation, which I don't even know still how to feel about it. I really don't. I need a cup of my Java here, okay? And let's get into a couple of things before we get into the show, ladies and gentlemen. Follow me on Twitter at Andrew __ Faubert, ladies and gentlemen. That's where you will find me. And if you can't find that for some odd reason, like if you can't spell my last name, just go to North Sports. Check out North Sports, find North Sports, and that's where you will find me. And that's where you can start following me. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, there we go. Boom. 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 There we go. Without further ado, let's kind of get right into it, shall we? I'm going to post this again. One more time for everybody out there. Why do I post that? Because Brady has decided to join the BUCS. What? What? What do you mean? Why did he choose the BUCS? Well, I'm here to tell you that. And a bunch of other reasons why a bunch of other free agents signed where they did. So ladies and gentlemen, remember to follow me on Twitter at North Sports. Remember to share my videos and you get a chance to enter and to win one of these guys. And the other 3 cards that we have actually in the other room. I forgot to grab them. I'll grab them at the end of the video so you guys can see before we open this pack. And you guys know the rules. Best card that's in the pack goes into the grand total of what everybody would win. And if you want to win those cards, ladies and gentlemen, all you gotta do is share the podcast. And we have an unopened pack, like I just said, in that as well. We will eventually put more unopened packs in there. But as of right now, with this COVID virus, it's really hard to go out places and get all that stuff. So let's get right down to it, ladies and gentlemen. He's here. Brady's a Buck. Why? That's the biggest question that everybody keeps asking me. I've had so many people message me and be like, why did Brady choose the BUCS? I don't get why Brady would choose the BUCS. And you know what? Honestly, the reason is pretty simple. Brady was only going to leave the Patriots for 2 things, okay? A way better team, which you can make fun of this all you want right now, but the Buccaneers roster, take Brady off the Patriots, take Brady off of the Buccaneers. Roster-wise, Buccaneers are the better one, okay? That's whether you like it or not, it's inevitable. Buccaneers roster is the best. Why have the Buccaneers not been able to get over the hump? Let's see. 5 years ago, we invested our first round pick into a guy who threw 30 interceptions. Started to do my math. There was 21 other times where defenders dropped an interception. Does that sound like somebody you want on the team? So I even give him the benefit of the doubt and cut those numbers in half, carried the one onto the other side and just said 10. That's 40 interceptions. 5,000 yards and 40 interceptions. This is, like someone said on Twitter today, this is not the 70s football anymore. You can't just sling it, get an interception, and think that you're going to be able to come back into the game. That's not how the NFL runs anymore. Coaches are way better than that. No offense to any of the coaches who are long gone now, but that's not the NFL nowadays, okay? and it's never going to be the NFL anymore. You can't throw 30 interceptions and think you're going to do good. It's not how it works. But you know what does work? Bringing in a guy who only threw 8 interceptions. And everybody can bitch and complain. I've been on many Buccaneers podcasts for the last 48 to 72 hours, and all I've been hearing is Brady's 43 years old. And believe me, that was the reason I didn't want him to come here anyway. But seeing what else was out there, Bridgewater, 3 years, 25 mil. It's not necessarily what I wanted to pay. Willing to pay it if I had to. What was the other ones out there? Nick Foles for a 4th round? We almost signed him by ourselves. And with the O-line, it wouldn't have worked. Tom Brady is more than just what we needed on our roster. You're bringing in the greatest quarterback of all time, whether or not you like to admit it. It's true. I don't like to admit it. I like to think it's more Belichick. But here's the opportunity for him to show everybody that it's Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, with 6 rings on his finger. You know what we're hoping for the next 2 years? A 7th one. Here's how we can do it. Yes, where is it? Hold on. Right here. There it is. The only reason, in my opinion, that Brady came here is right here, baby. Mike Evans. Mike motherfucking Evans, ladies and gentlemen. The tallest wide receiver you could possibly ask for. Yeah, I would probably leave my place of establishment for the last 20 years if they didn't do shit for me. And I saw the Bills, a team that came on the other side. If I saw the Bills start trading for some of the best, wide receivers out there for a 1st rounder, which was in the 20s, you don't think Brady's going to get a little pissed off and leave. It's true. He left because he called Kraft and said, why? What, you're allowing this trades to happen in our division and you're not going to do anything about it? And they probably had a little exchange and said, Belichick's the one that controls the team and the owner sits back and blah, 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 blah. And that's where Brady said he's out. And he checked the markets. He did. He definitely checked the markets. And you know what was out there? I was going to say San Diego. The Los Angeles Chargers. As great of a team as they are, and they have a great team. They are almost a mirror image of the Buccaneers, if you ask me as well. They are missing a few pieces. And it's different when you go to a new stadium where people are trying to hop on a fan base that has never really existed in that city. And you think that the 43-year-old, he's probably thinking that I'm 43, I'm not going to be able to change that mentality. That's true. The one thing that he knows that he can do is he can go to Tampa, where the mentality has always been we trade or we pick up the best talent when we can. We traded for John Gruden. We have traded for bits and pieces here and there. Has it worked in the past? No. But now this is different. Brady is in Tampa. Do you honestly think people are going to, free agency and trades are going to come around? Do you think people are going to veto trades to Tampa? No. Do you think people are actually going to start considering Tampa Bay? Yes. Because you're in one of the hottest states. There's no state tax. We're about to get new jerseys. Like, this logo is probably staying, which the old logo with Brady is actually quite awesome. I want to get that shirt. I will be getting that shirt for sure. But do you not honestly think that Brady is going to change the mentality of that organization? Duh. Bruce Arians was there to do the same thing. Bruce Arians is laid back. And I've heard a lot of people talking about Bruce Arians being, he's really laid back and he likes to swear. He likes his players to have a good time and stuff like that, but he likes to be held accountable. He likes to hold his players accountable. And Brady looks like he's going to start doing that. I should probably stop shaking my head so much on this mic, but Brady is there to do it. Brady is there to help Bruce Arians change the mentality of the Buccaneers. This is a new team. This is the same thing when Belichick went to the Patriots. Tom Brady is not a GM. No, not in any which way, shape, or form. But you know what Brady is? He's a facilitator. This man may start asking for ownership when he's all said and done with this team. Why? So that he can be in place to actually turn this team around in many different ways. Playing and ownership. Hell, what if this man retires and he wants to be a coach? What if this man wants to be an owner? What if he wants to set up TB12? Tampa seems like a pretty damn cool place to do it. Don't you think? Nobody likes Tampa. Go back in history. Has Tampa Bay in any sport, don't leave hockey out of this for a second. They've had Stamkos. They've drafted well, okay? And picked up little players here and there. But has Tampa Bay, this city, in any sports realm ever picked up a player as big as Tom Brady? Nope. No. So this is different. This is the same thing when Joe Montana went to the Chiefs. This is the same thing when Doug Flutie went to the NFL. There's a couple other examples I had. I wish I wrote them down too. I was just thinking of them before the podcast, or before the show. This is different. This is way different. This is New Jerseys, not New Jersey. This is New Jerseys. This is a brand new team. This is a team that is now willing to do whatever it takes to get this championship. We are hosting the Super Bowl, for crying out loud, guys. We're hosting it. And you don't honestly think that Tampa Bay is going to do everything that it possibly can to get there? They already have. You franchise tagged Barrett. You brought in Brady. You re-signed JPP. And Winston is out. I've been telling everybody for quite a while, Winston is not the answer. If you wanted to have mediocrity for a long time and then pop maybe one season like 10 years from now, then keep him. But at 35 to 40 million, which he was asking for, if Prescott's not even getting that, you're not going to get it. I will give Tom Brady $30 million for 2 years for that man to come in and change that organization around, because holy shit, did we need it. And anybody on this thread, anybody who's a fan of mine, anybody who's going to watch this or any of my shows knows how much of a diehard fan of the Buccaneers I am. And I've held them for their shit signings and their shit trades and all the shit that they've done. Believe me, I've held them for it. My fiance has had to hear me yell in this basement and basically cry. Okay? I've been through it. And to be honest, I would rather have 2 years of Brady at basically $60 million than Winston for another 5 for 120 any day of the week. Because in 2 years, JPP's contract is done in 2 years. You don't have to franchise, you don't have to sign Barrett at the end of next season. You can franchise him again. Then if you get a title in the next 2 years, you can let some of these expensive players walk and start again. Why? Because then people are going to want to come there. Hello? People don't see this? Tampa Bay is your new landing spot for 2 years, ladies and gentlemen, provided the season goes. But this is prime real estate. Brady's there in Retirementville. That's what Tampa Bay is. That's retirement city. And now he's going to own it. And he's going to set up TB12. He's going to set up the Buccaneers. He's probably going to troll the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Miami Dolphins while he's at it, especially the Dolphins. He's got his friends around in Tennessee, and, this is perfect. This is perfect. Do I think that this was the right call for the Buccaneers to make? Out of all the possibilities out there, no. I honestly think you should have bit the bullet, traded up for a quarterback. But plan B here, where you're going to have Brady for 2 years and run with it, I'm okay with that. I am definitely okay with that. Wanted to only spend 2 minutes on the whole Brady thing, but man, I have been excited to have the chance to have Tom Brady. And a lot of people are like, are you going to buy a jersey? You're damn fucking right I'm going to buy a Tom Brady jersey, and I'm going to wear it every single day. You think I'm not going to be wearing my Mike Evans jersey every single day to work in my BUCS caps? You're sadly mistaken, ladies and gentlemen. Sadly mistaken. Why? Because it's BUCS time, baby. BUCS time. It's a BUCS life. It's Buccaneers here. It's Buccaneers there. And that's all you're going to hear. And every single person who's seen this podcast knows one thing for sure. I've been a Buccaneers fan since before we even won the damn championship. A year before we won the damn championship. Mr. Angus, thank you to you and Rob Ewing and everybody else in my grade 5 class who I was just like, I got to go find a football team to enjoy. And I did. And I'm enjoying it, ladies and gentlemen. And it's going to be fun. But remember that I am the original Canadian fan of the Buccaneers. And all these other people who are going to hop on, the Brady, the Buccaneers are so good. Fuck off. We don't need you on our bandwagon, okay? This choo-choo train that I'm about to start casting off for the next 2 years ain't got room for nobody who thinks they're just going to hop on. I will call you out for it. Oh my God, I will call you out for it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the time for the Buccaneers part of the podcast, for the show. I should stop calling it a podcast. This really is more of a show. Remember to start following me on Twitter at Andrew_Faubert. Look for North Sports. That's where you will find me. I kind of made fun of Kevin Durant a little bit. If anybody heard, Kevin Durant got COVID-19. I didn't make fun of him for catching COVID-19. I made a joke about like his playing style and COVID-19. I think I'm about to get blocked, and I'm totally like, the day I get blocked by Kevin Durant's the day I know I'm doing my job right. So let's get into the next here, ladies and gentlemen. I posted in the group North Sports while the podcast was going the two, ladies and gentlemen, counted the two mock drafts that I posted today that I was doing over the weekend. The first one that you'll see, obviously, is the second round. But we're going to go into the first round mock draft here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to get that over and done with before we get into the major free agency news and to get into the big theory, the playoff theory, ladies and gentlemen. That's the biggest part of this that I've been wanting to do. I didn't even advertise it on the comment section, which is bad. Bad on me. This is the reason why this is only in beta testing. It's not even beta testing. This is just me waiting to get more equipment and be better at my job. Even though this is a hobby. I don't give a shit. This is what I enjoy. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. The mock draft, okay? The mock draft. Let me get my notes in order here. I did another mock draft. We did the 2.0 with trades, ladies and gentlemen. With trades. That's the way we like to do it. I like to throw in a couple of trades that actually make sense. I don't throw trades in there that don't make sense, okay? So if you can see them on the side, if you got them. If not, I got a couple of notes here and we'll go through them. First pick, obviously, in the draft, we could just assume the Bengals are going to choose Joe Burrow. I don't see them doing anything else besides Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. Unless you get like last year's draft, where a week before or a couple of days before the draft actually happened, everyone's like, Baker Mayfield instead of Sam Darnold. But that was because there were 3 quarterbacks to choose from, really, if you think about it. And this one, there's only one for the Bengals to choose, and that is Joe Burrow. We're going to get into number 2. That is where my first trade happens. Now, I'm pretty consistent that this trade is going to happen. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and everyone seems to be in the same agreement with me. The Washington Redskins are either going to choose Tua, which I don't think is going to happen necessarily, though Ron Rivera having that opportunity to start, like choosing another quarterback first overall to start, again, would be the best way to do it, because then you're guaranteed 4 years instead of running with Haskins. But I think that the Washington Redskins are going to trade down with the Miami Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are dedicated in getting Tua. No matter the cost, no matter what it takes, they're going to do it. And what is the cost going to be? They're going to trade their number 5 pick, their number 18 pick. They're going to send a first-round pick next year and a second-round pick next year. You might see like a 4th and a 3rd go around there, this, that, and everything else. But that's going to be the gist of that trade. It's going to be 3 first rounds and a second rounder to Washington, and Miami's going to choose Tua, straight up. Tua Tagovailoa, or however you're going to say it. I'm going to figure it out. Don't you worry. Detroit sitting at number 3. I believe my last mock draft, I had them trading out as well to allow one of those teams to get a quarterback. I do not see that happening, ladies and gentlemen. If Tua and Burrow are gone, Detroit is sitting pretty. They're going to take Chase Young. That plain and simple. And Detroit, well, in my opinion, will have the piece that's kind of missing to see that team actually compete and do good. So, yeah. I do think Chase Young is going to be a Lion unless somebody trades up and offers them the world for him, which I could also see, but more than likely is going to be Chase Young. Number 4, the Giants are going to go with one of the people I thought about originally, and I wanted to see how his combine went first before I actually made that call on it. I'm going to go with Becton out of Louisville. That was going to be the person I think that the Giants are going to be taking. It just makes sense. You got a new quarterback. You might as well get one of the better, if actually, yeah, at that point, the best, in your opinion, O-lineman out there to protect him. So Number 5, Washington trading down. I think they're going to take Isaiah Simmons. Now, this is where I think Ron Rivera gets what he actually wants. You had Luke Kuechly that ran the defense beautifully by himself. He's at, you had many different talent across the board in Carolina's defense from before. There's a lot of talent up front on the Redskins. There's a little bit of talent on the back end. Why don't you add this linebacker safety hybrid that can do everything that you want? He's not going to be the size of Luke Kuechly, but god darn can this guy fucking do what Luke Kuechly did. Just watch the tape. Again, not as big, but this man's going to do damage. And I think this is what Ron Rivera is holding out for, but I do not think he wants to take him at number 2. I think he wants to trade back and get some picks so he can start loading up on this defense and this offense to give Dwayne Haskins some help. Number 6, the Chargers. Now, this might be a little bit different going forward. My next 3.0 draft will be when the Chargers actually make a decision on a quarterback. Today, they were said to have made a decision to stay with Tyrod Taylor. I do not believe that. I think they might take a quarterback in this draft. But I do also think that they're making Carolina down the asking price of what they actually want to give up for Cam Newton. I am still dedicated that Cam Newton would actually probably be a good pick for the Chargers. Sit there, start the new arena, all that kind of stuff. People would pay to go see Cam Newton. I would see that. Cam Newton with some help in an O-line. Yeah, I could see that. But there's obviously one piece missing on that O-line, and that's another tackle. So this is where I think if Cam Newton went to the Chargers and the Chargers stick with Tyrod Taylor kind of dealio with those two quarterbacks, I think as of right now, they will take Wills Jr. from Alabama, the offensive lineman. That's just pretty much a given. Carolina would be sitting pretty. Now, this is where everyone thinks that they would take Derek Brown, but there's one name missing out of that top 5, top 6 that everybody wanted to see get picked and hasn't been picked. And that is Okade, quarterback from Ohio State. Now, this can be swapped between Washington and Carolina. I think if Washington didn't want to take on the whatever Simmons is going to be, I can see them going the cornerback way just because they let Norman walk. I could see that. It's really up to what Washington decides, but whatever they decide is what Carolina is going to take opposite. And what I think they're going to take opposite would be the cornerback in this case. So watch out for Carolina to take the cornerback. Number 8, the Cardinals, after trading for one of the biggest fucking names out there. Holy, ladies and gentlemen. They got DeAndre Hopkins from the Texans for only a second rounder and David Johnson. Now, David Johnson is a great player and has been a great player. He's not the same as what he is before. Fantasy owners will know that quite well. So they need an offensive lineman. Kyler Murray is young, and with all that talent that you got to keep him safe. So why not go with one of the fastest linemen out there? So they take Wirfs. Number 9, Jacksonville. I got them taking CJ Henderson only because of the Byron Jones deal that was going on. Apparently it was a bidding war between the Oakland Raiders. It's the Vegas Raiders now, ladies and gentlemen. The Vegas Raiders and the Dolphins. And he was basically dead set on signing with the Raiders, and the Raiders would have given him more money in general, but the Dolphins gave him more money up front, and that was the big selling point. So I think because the pick, 2 picks after that, or 3 picks after Jacksonville, I think is where you're going to start seeing the Raiders want to take the best cornerback if the biggest 2 are still on the board. So this is where Jacksonville takes home state boy CJ Anderson from Florida, puts them in there after losing Ramsey and Odeyu, I think is how you say his last name, and fills a gap. That's the easiest thing to say there. Number 10 is where I get the second biggest trade, and then I'm going to get a little bit faster and just naming off these guys until I get to my last trade at the bottom here. Washington. After trading back, obviously has got some picks so they can trade up, right, if they want to. So why wouldn't you? You're not going to take Tua. But if you're sitting at number 10 and you realize that there's a lot of these teams taking, their quarterbacks and stuff like that, wouldn't it be smart for you to go for the third best one that's out there? And all you got to do in this trade that I have is giving up the number 18th pick that you got from Miami, a first round pick from next year, and a second round pick for next year. which, you just got a couple of picks from Miami, so why wouldn't you take the chance? And Washington trades with the Cleveland Browns at number 10, and they would take Justin Herbert out of Oregon. I think that makes more sense for the Redskins. You get the best defensive player, second best defensive player out there, and you're getting your quarterback. That is what I think the Redskins are hoping for, ladies and gentlemen. Cleveland is going to get all those picks. Cleveland is just sending that pick back, and I got them sending a next year's 6th round pick, 2021, back to Washington as well. Number 11, we'll start naming them off here a little bit quicker for you. Jets are going to take Jerry Jeudy from Alabama. I think the Raiders at number 12 would bite the bullet. Might as well, since you just lost out on your cornerback. I think they would start taking a look at Ruggs from Alabama. That just makes more sense to me. I think Mike Mayock would just love him. Number 13 is now San Francisco. I think San Francisco, the only reason why they traded DeForest Buckner was because they knew they can get up in the draft. And I think what they did is they got up there so they can take one of the big 3 wide receivers. And them being quick about it, go and take CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma. The Buccaneers at 14. Now, this is all in hopes, okay? But Andrew Thomas out of Georgia, big offensive tackle, just makes sense in the Buccaneers scheme of things. Makes sense in the whole draft of things. Is he going to be there? I don't know. A lot of these teams are going to be trading up to try and get one of the big 4 offensive linemen. If one of them fell to the Buccaneers, that would be nice, and that's what I got them at right now. But anything can change, especially on draft day. Number 15, Broncos are going to go with linebacker Patrick Queen out of LSU. Atlanta sits there at number 16 and gets Brown from Auburn. I think they would just be laughing in this case. 17 is going to be cornerback Diggs from, I believe it's Clemson. I think it's what I got on my notes there. Let's go with this one here quick. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Out of Clemson. Is it Diggs out of Clemson? Or no, he's out of Alabama. There we go. Sorry. And then Cleveland, who traded back at number 18. I think he's going to get the linebacker that they really wanted, but they knew they could get by trading back. Murray from Oklahoma. I think this is where you get your cornerback, Mr. Raiders, Mr. Gruden, and Kyle Fulton out of LSU. 20, the Jacksonville Jaguars will take Xavier McKinney from Alabama. Philadelphia gets one of the better wide receivers still with Higgins out of Clemson. Minnesota is laughing while making the trade. That was for Stephon Diggs, sorry. And they're going to be laughing when Kinlaw falls into their lap at 22. Now, this is where shit gets fun, ladies and gentlemen. New England sitting at 23 without trading up knows that people were hoping to trade with either Kansas City or San Francisco for a quarterback. New England sits there, doesn't do any smoke screens all season, takes Jordan Love. And they have their quarterback of the future, groomed by Mr. Bill Belichick. Number 24, New Orleans taking Clavon Chason. That would be a huge addition to their defense. I would actually be scared for Tom Brady at that point. Minnesota also gets one of their offensive tackles that they've desired in Jones from Houston. Miami, I still got them taking Swift at 26. I think that's around the area where people are going to start taking those running backs, and the Dolphins are going to start taking them right off the board at 26. And I still think Swift fits that scheme, if you ask me. Seattle laughs because AJ Epinesa falls to their lap at 27. Baltimore also gets a linebacker that has been touted as a high climber, especially because of the Columbine, in Bond from Wisconsin. Tennessee gets Trell from Clemson, the cornerback. Green Bay now would be sitting there pretty, getting the tight end from Notre Dame. Now, this is where the other big one happens, ladies and gentlemen. I told you, I think that San Francisco and Kansas City are sitting there looking at teams that want to trade up for the last possible quarterbacks that are available. The one quarterback that a lot of people have been, kind of under the radar on, is Cole McDonald out of Hawaii. And I got New Orleans trading back into the first round at pick 31 to take Cole McDonald out of Hawaii. Why? This kid looks like Taysom Hill and Drew Brees mixed together. And I actually watched a hour-long video on his plays throughout college, and I think this kid could be legit. If Jordan Love wasn't available for the Patriots at 23, I can see him going to the Patriots, and that would even scare me even more. Okay, this kid can be something if he's put in the right scheme, right? Number 32, Gladney out of TCU. The cornerback would be going to the Kansas City Chiefs. They get a cornerback that they have been wanting. That is the biggest thing that they've been wanting and the biggest need that they have. To give you a second round mock draft breakdown as quick as I got, Cincy would get an edge with their 33rd pick. Jefferson, the wide receiver, at 34 to Indianapolis. Let's give you some other big names here that I got. Jonathan Taylor, the running back, will go to the Chargers at 37. This is also no trades. I got no trades going on right now. I want to see the rest of these free agents get signed before I start doing the second round, because the second round one would just get destroyed anyway. But this is just based off of there was no trades whatsoever. Carolina would take Chanel, the wide receiver. Miami would get a center, the best center out of this whole draft, in my opinion. Muti would also go to Houston. So Houston would get the offensive guard that they kind of need, which is one of the other better offensive linemen in this draft. The other better safety would go to Cleveland, and he would be, that would be Delpy. And Delpy, I'm going to cut on my thumb. Delpy would be partnered back up with Greedy Williams. So that could be interesting. That could be very interesting. Cushberry to Chicago. I got Tampa Bay getting Winfield, the safety. J.K. Dobbins going to Atlanta. That's the running back. Edwards-Helaire going to the Jets right after that. I got Hurts going at number 49 to Pittsburgh right before Chicago. Ooh, yeah. Especially, that actually worked out for me pretty well today, because Chicago just traded for Nick Foles about an hour ago before I started doing this. And I was like, well, it's a good thing I didn't have them doing too much that way. But Chicago would take a cornerback right after that. Mims, that a lot of people are talking about, would go to Baltimore. That would be quite dangerous. I think them falling into Baltimore's lap would be amazing. Houston would take Hennessy, another big old lineman with the 57th pick, basically just restructuring that whole O-line and laughing at everybody who called them a bad franchise, but they're a bad franchise and Bill O'Brien should be fired. We won't get into that. We will save that for another episode. And my favorite guy, Bryce Hall, the cornerback from Virginia, who was supposed to actually be one of the better cornerbacks this whole draft. I think he's going to be falling to Seattle's lap at the 64th pick. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the mock draft. Yes, it has. So the mock draft, ladies and gentlemen, I have both of them that have just been posted to the page. If you want to get your comments in on what you think is going to happen, what you think for trades and stuff like that, name it in there. Name it in there. Say it in there. You know, whatever I'm wrong on, hey, I'm okay to admit when I'm wrong. Always okay to admit when I'm wrong. And you have the beauty. That's what this show is about. Telling me and telling a lot of Americans and a lot of people around the world when they are wrong. And that's what I do. I enjoy the fuck out of it. Okay? So, before we get into the other quick notes I have about free agency, we'll get into the top 10 free agencies. We're going to get into something that I worked on for a couple of days here, ladies and gentlemen. So the NFL has now passed 14 teams being in the playoffs. Wow. Not 17 games just yet, just 14 teams in the playoffs, okay? Just 14 teams. So that means one team is going to get a bye, which I'm not necessarily against. This whole thing I was against, though, right off the bat. I can admit that. I was highly against it. Because it was like, this doesn't make any sense. Started be two teams that get a bye. That's what two teams are playing for. But then I started doing my homework. I started realizing and started asking myself, what if we took a look at a few years back and looked at all the teams that would have missed the playoffs? Would there have been any like good matchups? Would there have been anything that we actually cared to see? And I went back into the year after the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl, by the way. And I have found some quite interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Some very interesting stuff. So let's get right into it quickly, okay? I'm going to give you a rundown of all the teams and all the years, as quick as I can, that would have missed the playoffs with their record, okay? So last year, everybody knows that Pittsburgh would have missed and the Rams would have missed. Pittsburgh was 8-8 and the Rams were 9-7. The 2018 season, Pittsburgh also would have missed at 9-6-1. Minnesota would have missed with 8-7-1. 17 season would have been Baltimore and Detroit, both at 9-7. The 2016 season would have seen Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston actually go to the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, both at 9-7. The 2015 season would have seen the Jets and Atlanta go. Jets would have been 10-6. Atlanta 8-8. Ooh. 2014 would have seen Houston and Philadelphia. Houston at 9-7. Philadelphia at 10-6. So that one would have been would have been a cool year as well. 2012 would have seen. 2013 would have seen Pittsburgh and Arizona. Pittsburgh at 8-8. Arizona at 10-6. 2012 would have seen Pittsburgh at 8-8 and Chicago at 10-6. 2011 would have seen Tennessee and Chicago in it. Tennessee at 9-7. Chicago at 8-8. So as you can see already, there's a couple of teams that everybody was like, right? That's right. 2010 saw San Diego and the Giants would have been in. San Diego at 9-7, the Giants at 10-6. 2009 Houston at 9-7 and Atlanta at 9-7. 2008 would have seen the big year of the year that Tom Brady went down. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the year Tom Brady went down, the Patriots actually would have been in at 11-5, and so would the Buccaneers at 9-7. 2007, Cleveland would have been in at 10-6. Minnesota would have been in at 8-8. 2006, Denver would have been at 9-7. Green Bay would have been in at 8-8. 2005, Kansas City at 10-6, and Minnesota at 9-7. 2004, Jacksonville and New Orleans would have got in at 9-7 and 8-8 respectively. And last but not least, Miami in 2003 and Minnesota at 10-6 and 9-7 respectively. So it's a lot of things to take in there. What did that mean? So some of the things that this meant was, where's my notes? There they are. Most appearances out of the AFC, you would have had Pittsburgh with 4. Out of the NFC, you would have Minnesota with also 4. Notables that I got in there, Tampa Bay missing twice, Chicago missing twice, and Atlanta missing twice. Reason why I put them in there, do we think that some of the changes in coaching and player establishments would have actually happened? Say, where's that year I had here? 2016, when Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston went to the playoffs? I think the narrative would have been the same. I don't know. But that's the reason why I did this, is to see what actually could have happened. The other thing, the highest missing record, obviously, was that year they didn't have Brady at 11-5 for New England. The most records missed, 11-5, obviously, one. There's been 8 10-6 records that have missed the playoffs. 9-7 or 9-6-1 kind of dealio has missed it a grand total of 16 times. 8-8 or 8-7-1 has also been a grand total of 9 times. So after looking at all this, what does this show you? That there was good teams with good records that missed these playoffs. Yeah, we got some 8-8 teams here, but it doesn't outweigh the 10-6 and 9-7s. Just saying. These 9-7 teams we've seen before can do damage. We've seen Pittsburgh at number 6. We've seen Buffalo at number 6, Houston at number 6, Kansas City at number 6. We've seen teams on that last wild card do a lot of damage. Hell, didn't Tennessee just do it last year? Maybe. Teams can do it. When they get that momentum going into the playoffs, and NHL fans know this, that momentum can take you places, and that momentum can take you a lot of places. And that momentum could even take you to the promised land. We've seen that before. Basketball, NHL, baseball, and football. We've seen it across many different platforms, ladies and gentlemen. Many different platforms. So all these teams that missed, especially these 10-6 teams, last 10-6 team to miss was the Jets in 2015. Do you honestly think they wouldn't have done damage? Or Philadelphia in 2014, Arizona 2013, Chicago in 2012, all 10-6. Do you not think they would have done damage? Yeah, Mark Sanchez was in there. Yeah, there's a couple other, quarterbacks that were in there for Chicago. Chicago wasn't the greatest of teams, but they also weren't the worst, obviously. So I've switched my opinions around. I think this is actually not that bad. Now, the one thing that it got me thinking was, what about the actual games that get played? What would have been the 2 versus 7 games on each side? Would there have been any games that people would have been interested in? Holy crap. Yes. The biggest one, the most 2 versus 7 matchups that you would have had would have been New England versus Pittsburgh, ladies and gentlemen. 3 of that being Pittsburgh at number 7 and 1 of them being New England at number 7. That would have been fun. Ben Roethlisberger versus Tom Brady in the first round. as much as I just gave respect to Tom Brady, I don't think Brady would have made it to the finals that many times had he had to gone through some of the talent that he actually had to go through, especially when they're on that run. Okay. So yeah. Divisional matchups, AFC was 3, NFC was 6. AFC had 3 tied at 1. NFC matchups was Chicago versus Minnesota twice. That would have been fun. Most matchups on the other side, was San Francisco versus Chicago, just in general for matchups. So, all in all, ladies and gentlemen, Tampa Bay would have been in there twice. You know, Pittsburgh, New England 4 times in the first round. How is this not something that everybody wanted to see? How is this not everything that people wanted to see? You tell me, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what I wanted to see. You know what else I want to see? People sharing the video so you can win. Stuff like this, which we're going to open right now. Oh, that was a nice one. So, ladies and gentlemen, you share these videos, you get a chance to win these cards. What are these cards worth? I will tell you. One of them is worth $1.07. That Gordie Howe card is like 86 cents. But it's Gordie fucking Howe. A whole package could be 30 cents. A whole package could be a couple $100 because of one card. You never know. And here we got Torrey Mitchell. Ooh, Todd Bertuzzi and the Red Wings. I don't think anybody wants me to put that in there. Drew Doughty, Josh Bailey, Thomas Vanek, David Legwand, and hot rookies is an Aaron Ness. I always put the rookie cards in there. So that's the one that we're going to put into our group of cards that we give away. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll keep getting that thing build until the end of the year. And then I'll take all the shares and likes and comments and stuff, and I'll put it in a draw just like I did on my old podcast. So lastly, before we go, I'll give you a quick update on the COVID-19. NBA is still canceled. NHL, MLB, NASCAR, all is canceled. UFC will probably still go on with the Tony and Khabib fight in April, at the end of April. Dwayne Diddy, or whatever his name is, actually had a great idea that the NBA is taking to the commissioner's office about a 28 playoff breakdown if this continues on into the summer. I've actually overlooked it. I'm going to find it again. I'll post a photo onto my page. So I've been at this for a little while. I've got a lot of information for you guys today. But yeah, there's it would be kind of funny to see if they do it, especially because we could put an asterisk around all these sporting events for last year. Thanks, Astros. So yeah, that'd be kind of cool to see. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, South Korea is opening up some of their sports because they did the COVID virus pretty damn well. We're in state of emergencies here in Alberta. Can't be more groups of 10 or something like that, or 50, which is fine by me. I just go to work, I do my job, I come home, I hang out with my babies. And when I go to work, I don't touch anybody. That's all. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, and I go check out all the details about Tom Brady, and I try to find out if I can actually, get a jersey without them all being sold out, and if I can even get to the damn Super Bowl, which, by the way, I'm going to be, I don't know about you guys, but there might be a little bit of a road trip happening next year to the Super Bowl. So if anybody wants to join for that, it's in Tampa. Yeah, and if this COVID virus is obviously gone, and if all that shit's gone, you might want to start hopping on the opportunities here quick, ladies and gentlemen, because it's gonna be fun, especially if the Patriots. Oh, actually, yeah, Patriots and Buccaneers Super Bowl. Oh my God, that'd be great. Top 10 free agency signings. We had a lot of signings, as you can see from my board. I've been writing them all. Oh, there we go. Writing them all. I gotta do this properly. Writing them all down. And then right here. And then right there. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the top 10 big signings for the NFL as of right now. Number 10, Eric Flowers of the Dolphins. That's right. They needed a big old lineman. They weren't going to go in the draft and grab one, ladies and gentlemen. They got other tools that they need. So they went and grabbed Eric Flowers. They gave him big money. How much money? I can't remember. 3 years. 3 years. 3 years, $19.95 million, which is very fucking cheap if you ask me, for a pretty damn good old lineman. Number 9, Raiders. I just put linebackers. Kimataskowski or whatever the hell you say his name, Littleton, and then they grabbed another guy for really damn cheap. Raiders had one major hole, and they fixed it by spending over $30 million on it. Number 8, Philip fucking Rivers is going to the Colts, ladies and gentlemen. If that doesn't scare you at least for next year, Texans, Titans, Jaguars, anybody really in the AFC? Because he was only 2 years removed from a possible MVP season. Just saying, if Drew Brees and Tom Brady are still going, Philip Rivers can do it. Oh my God, just saying. Philip Rivers to the Colts, number 8. Number 7, Kendall Fuller to Washington. Why did I put that on there? Because going back to the mock draft, if they get Okaday from Ohio and they got both of those guys on each side, they're pretty much set for that division with the wide receivers. Okay, Amari Cooper, Philadelphia. There we go. If they get Higgins, the Giants with all the tools that they got, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, they need that. They need it, and I think they're going to do it. 10, 9, 8, 7. So number 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So number 6, the Bears getting Robert Quinn and signing him to like 5 years, $70 million. I have that up there. That was huge. They just don't care. They got money, and they're just like, fuck the quarterback situation. We're just going to like win these games like 24-21 or like 17-14. They're going all in on that defense, man. They let Leonard Floyd walk. And if they get linebackers in that second round, man, it's a scary team. Just saying. Bears with Robert Quinn at number 6. Getting into our top 5 signings. Number 5, the Dolphins again. They got Van Noy from the Patriots. Another guy familiar with that scheme with Brian Flores. This is smart. The Dolphins are doing things smart. I don't care what anybody says. If they get Tua, this team is a playoff team next year. Duh. Number 4, Austin Hooper went to Cleveland. Signed big money. What did he sign for? I got him. It was up at the top. 4 years, $23 million average. He's the highest paid tight end. Is it worth it? Out of all the other, when the other tight ends get their money, you're going to realize that he's not. He's really good, and he's going to be really good for Cleveland. But that's it. Number 3, Cleveland again. You got Conklin, the guy that I was hoping the Buccaneers would pull the trigger on, but I understand the cap space. It wasn't going to work. But Conklin is going to the Browns. Now you got some protection for Baker. Now you've given him 2 tight ends, 2 of the best wide receivers and O-line now, and 2 damn good running backs. Last year when we all said Cleveland was a Super Bowl team, I was on the opposite side being like, no, that is way too early. Now, Cleveland is a dominant team if Baker Mayfield can get his act together. Number 2, Ryan Tannehill going to the Titans. Why do I put that in there? Titans were scary. That is a team that will do anything to win, including run a clock down for 2.5 minutes, basically, and piss Bill Belichick off, and everyone starting to learn rules in the middle of a game. Titans are scary, man. And you got your 2 guys that took you to the AFC Finals against the Chiefs, and you did pretty damn good. And now you've loaded up. This is a scary team, okay? It is a scary team. And your number 1 free agent signing, let's be realistic, ladies and gentlemen, it's Brady going to the BUCS. Why? We already went through this. There's way too many reasons to get in why Brady going to the BUCS makes sense. But let's give you the top 5. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. One of the best offenses of all time. Brand new schematics with Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles where you actually get a little bit of say in what the plays are going to be. You got a brand new practice facility in Tampa Bay that they just built, not necessarily for you, but to be out of the fucking heat. Your body can withstand that. And the number 1 reason, you're in Tampa, man. It's retirement city. And you're going to have $60 million and the chance to run TB12 wherever the fuck you want. And it's going to be everywhere. And it's going to be gorgeous. And I'm going to go visit it. And I'm going to take my hatred for Tom Brady and I'm going to swallow it when he puts up that banner that says 2021 or 2022 Super Bowl champions, ladies and gentlemen. Don't at me. I'm running the train for the next 2 years. This has been North Sports on the 18th, there we go, of March. And Brady signed. It's a good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's a damn good day. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Andrew_Faubert or look for North Sports. And remember to share the videos for your chance to win CODs, ladies and gentlemen. CODs. Yes, CODs. Yes, CODs. That's what we do. This is the sports show in Canada where you say whatever the fuck you want. And we have fun about it. Thank you for tuning in. For all the people, I saw a lot of comments there. I can actually go through. Oh, nice. I agree with you. Word, bring the hockey into this. We got a few people that looks like it tuned in. Thank you everybody who did. I will see you next week where we have an update on everything that's happening. And then we're probably going to take a couple week breaks in between until we get some major sports updates. Thank you. Much love. Always tune in. We'll talk to you later.